You may have spent thousands of dollars on organic food, clean water, or high-end air purifiers. But when it comes time to renovate, all that hard work, it can be undone in one single weekend. Most contractors are trained for speed and aesthetics. They see a bathroom tile or a new coat of paint, and I see a chemical cocktail that could affect your family's health for years. As a building biology practitioner, I've seen firsthand how a home construction project can take your home from a sanctuary to a source of illness. But the good news is you don't have to be a building scientist to get it right. I'm going to show you exactly how to hire a contractor who respects your health standards. We're covering the science, the specific trade questions, and the job site protocols that are non-negotiable. And this isn't just about low VOC materials. It's about moisture management, electromagnetic safety, and vetting clean materials for your entire project. Welcome back. I'm Amanda. I'm a building biology practitioner, a certified home inspector, and a healthy home expert. And today we're talking about how to hire a contractor that actually cares about your health and wellness and the health and wellness of your home. If you're here, you probably already know that your environment is the foundation of your wellness. So today we're going to be bridging the gap between high-level building biology principles and the practical reality of a construction site. I'm going to talk you through the vetting process, the technical standards you really should ask for, and how to protect your project from start to finish. So why does it even matter so much? Because the Environmental Protection Agency has consistently found that indoor air is 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air. And in some cases, that gap is even wider. So when we consider that the average person spends maybe up to 90% of their time indoors, our homes become our primary source of chemical exposure. So when you hire a contractor, you're essentially deciding which chemicals will be off-gassing into your lungs for the next decade. We've built homes that are increasingly airtight, which is great for energy, but it's really dangerous if those homes are filled with synthetic materials that can't breathe. So to solve this issue, we use building biology evaluation guidelines. This framework looks like 3 main pillars. So first, we look at physical pollutants like electromagnetic radiation and thermal comfort. Second, we look at chemical pollutants. This would be VOCs or heavy metals. And then third, we look at biological pollutants. This would be mold or bacteria. Now, most contractors only care about the building's structure. So as your advocate, I care about the building's biology. We want a home that is vapor diffusive, moisture controlled, and electromagnetically quiet. These aren't just green ideas. They're actually scientific standards designed to promote deep, restorative sleep and long-term health. So first and foremost, let's talk about your HVAC system. This is the lungs of your home. So if a contractor installs a system that's oversized or improperly sealed, you're essentially building a mold factory behind your walls. We need to focus on balanced ventilation. And what this includes is bringing in fresh, filtered outdoor air while exhausting stale indoor air. So I always recommend, in addition to this, a HEPA or high MERV rated filtration system. You can get just a standard filter for your HVAC system that is high MERV. It has carbon in it, and this will help reduce chemicals and toxins inside your home. So when you interview an HVAC specialist to come into your home, you can ask them about their moisture management strategies and if they're comfortable installing an energy recovery ventilator or an ERV. This is also known as an air exchanger. A healthy home must breathe without losing its thermal integrity. Now, every trade has a specific impact on your indoor environment. So as you can see, the risks vary. A plumber might introduce lead or toxic sealants. A flooring installer is probably your biggest risk for phthalates and adhesives. An electrician, if not careful with grounding, can create high magnetic fields throughout your living space. And so by understanding these roles, you can target your vetting process. You don't need to be an expert in every single trade, but you need to know which red flags to look for in each category. If you're navigating a home project right now, or you're trying to figure out if your home is actually safe, I know that it can feel really overwhelming. You might be guessing about invisible toxins or trying to figure out where a damp odor is coming from. It might even be trying to fix stagnant air in your home without a clear plan. In order to give families my dedicated attention, I take just 4 virtual one-on-one consultations a week to help you set up a clear plan for your home. We can look at your space together and come up with a science-backed plan and a step-by-step roadmap that leaves you feeling confident about your home. Simply click the link above or in the video description below to set up your one-on-one consultation with me so that we can walk through your home and create that plan together. So let's take a look at some materials and finishes. Drywall and paint are really the most massive surface areas in your home. Standard latex paint usually acts like a plastic wrap. So what it does is it traps moisture in your walls and then it can off-gas synthetic chemicals. So it's kind of a mess for a healthy home. And instead, we want to pivot towards maybe a mineral-based paint or clay plasters. These materials are naturally mold resistant and they allow the walls to transpire. It's also important to remember that when you're hiring painters, you need to ensure that they understand that mineral paints require a different application technique. This is really an investment in your home's ability to stay dry and stay toxin-free. The most critical part of vetting is the safety data sheet, or sometimes referred to as the SDS. So a contractor might tell you that a product is safe. However, their definition of safe is often just not immediately corrosive. And so I like to look for the hidden toxins, the solvents, the antimicrobials, and the endocrine disruptors that don't make that front label of the product. So this is a really technical process that I handle for my clients. We like to review every single product on a project to ensure that it aligns with the low toxin goals of a family before a single drop of anything hits your project. So even if the best materials you have are there, you can't save a project if the job site is managed poorly. And our goal here is total containment, meaning that we are not spreading any sort of dust or toxin throughout your home. A lot of times this means using a heavy-duty plastic barrier with some sort of zipper entry. And then we need to be using active HEPA air scrubbing to pull fine construction dust out of the air. A lot of times, this dust can contain lead or legacy pesticides, and we need it out of the air, but not in the rest of your home. So I have a strict policy, and that is no smoking, no scented air fresheners, no high toxin cleaners on site either, because a clean job site really is a healthy job site. Now, when you interview a potential contractor, their attitude is just as important as their resume. So I have some specific questions that I use to gauge their openness. First and foremost, are they willing to work with the materials you provide? This is very important because if you want to choose your materials, such as paint or adhesives, we have to make sure that your contractor is going to be willing to do that. You also should be asking about what their standard is for dust containment. We want to make sure that this is really something that they understand. It has to be something that's important to them, because if they roll their eyes or they dismiss your concerns as overly cautious, chances are they're not the right fit for your project. We want someone who sees themselves as a student of healthy building, not just a practitioner of old ways. And here's where we go a little further. I always advise my clients, if it isn't in the contract, it really doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a verbal agreement when it comes to work being done in your home. So we always add a specific healthy homes clause to the end of any sort of agreement that you have with a contractor. And what it does is it forbids material substitutions without your written approval. This will prevent those accidental uses of high VOC adhesives because the specified one was out of stock or someone didn't remember that they needed to use a different product. It happens all the time. It sets the expectation from day one that health is really a priority of your project. Believe me, I know that hiring a contractor can feel like a full-time job. And this is where my advocacy services come in. What I like to do is bridge the gap between your health goals and the contractor's technical reality. I explain the why behind your choices so that the contractor feels like a partner, not an adversary. Whether it's reviewing an electrical plan for EMF safety or vetting new insulation, I'm there to ensure that the vision of a healthy home is never, ever compromised. Building or renovating a home is a massive undertaking, and the truth is that you don't have to do it alone. There's so many resources on my website, and in fact, specifically in this week's blog post, I dive into even more ways that you can hire a contractor who actually respects your health standards. And I have that linked above or in the video description below. But if you're ready to ensure that your next project is truly safe for your family and you're feeling really overwhelmed and you need a little additional handholding or help, I would invite you to book a consultation because we can look at your specific plans, create a non-toxic material list, and develop a strategy to hire the right team where I can be your advocate for your healthy home. As always, I hope you were able to take at least one idea from this week's video and apply it to your own space or your own project. If you did find this video helpful, definitely give it a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm here every single week with new tips, new ideas on how to create a space that actually supports your health and your wellness.